If you've ever been involved with the Shonen Jump community in any capacity, chances are you've heard about the Golden Future Cup, abbreviated as GFC, and possibly the curse that surrounds it. But if you haven't, don't worry, since before we delve into the curse and all the manga that have fallen under its dark spell, I want to explain what the Golden Future Cup actually is. The Golden Future Cup is an annual manga competition that began in 2004 and has pretty much happened every year since, although it does skip a year every now and then. The aim of the competition is to give newbie mangaka who haven't had a serialized work yet a shot at showcasing their skills and proving themselves by creating a one-shot, a single chapter of manga telling a cohesive story. The winner of the Golden Future Cup getting the right to serialize a manga in the main Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. These one-shots are serialized in the main Weekly Shonen Jump magazine too, one by one, week after week, and are voted on by readers. They get votes from the usual Jump surveys they put out in every issue, as well as an extra support vote, which they give if they would support the one-shot if it were an actual series. After this, both types of votes are tallied up, and at a later date, the winner is revealed. The Golden Future Cup was actually used as a plot point a few times in Bakuman, so if you think you've heard of it before, it might have been from there. The two main characters of Bakuman submit their own one-shots to the Golden Future Cup early on, but get rejected. The next year, they submit a new one-shot, it being Detective Trap, and that ends up winning, alongside another one-shot named Kyoshi Knight, written by one of the main character's rivals. After winning, Detective Trap goes on to become the protagonist's first full-fledged series. It was honestly really fun to reread a bit of Bakuman, and if you end up enjoying this video or my other Shonen Jump videos, you should probably read Bakuman as it covers some of the similar topics and delves into the inner workings of Jump and its history. It's a really fun read. Now that we've gone through some fictional Gold Future Cup winners though, let's look at the actual competitions, their winners, and why exactly the Gold Future Cup is cursed. I may also mention some entries that don't win if I find them interesting, but don't expect me to go through every single one-shot by name. Starting out, we have 2004's competition, which had 5 total entries, the winning manga being Takaya Otonari-san no Panic, which would become a full-fledged series in 2005, retitled as Takaya Senbu Gakuen Gekitouden. It's untranslated in English, and it's mostly known for a controversial pivot in its story. Originally, it started out as a school battle manga dubbed the School Fight Stage, with the main protagonist forced to attend a school full of tournaments and martial arts battles. But a second part began with the main character found himself isekai'd into a fantasy world, the manga changing to Takaya, Dawn of the Flameblade King. This choice was so poorly received that the manga was axed just 14 chapters into this new arc, ending mid-battle, and has been parodied a lot in Japan, examples being in the manga Deadpool Samurai and the anime Hayore Nyaruko-san. So far, the Gold Future Cup isn't beginning with its best foot forward, although arguably the choice to completely change the direction of your manga, like Takaya did, doesn't sound like something that's cursed, but rather a stupid choice on the author's part. We're not done with 2004 yet though, as 2 of the series, despite losing, got serialized. Firstly, we have Kirihoushi by Yuki Nakashima that began a week after Takaya. It, however, didn't meet with much success and ended in 2 volumes. Another submission would be a one-shot of Muhyo and Roji's Bureau of Spiritual Investigation by Yoshiyuki Nishi, which was the real secret winner here. Getting serialized in 2004 before Takaya, it would go on for 159 chapters and is actually a really good manga you should read if you like the idea of a less battle-centric series dealing with spirits. It has some great art and world building, and I'd love to talk about it, its author, and the author's other works someday. Next, we move on to 2005's Gold Future Cup, having 6 total contestants, 1 more than last year, the winner being Yoichi Amano with Rabbit Turtle Strike, a baseball one-shot following a pitcher who is helped out by a homeless man to up his baseball skills. While this wouldn't become a series, Amano would go on to create the short-lived Overtime, which serialized in July of 2006, but only lasted 19 chapters. It's an alright baseball story with one of my favourite gimmicks where one character is helped or possessed by a ghost. Koji Oshii, who lost with their one-shot Back in the City, would go on to serialize Maison De Penguin in Jump as well, which would have a decent run of 51 chapters, outliving over time. We skip 2006 and go straight to 2007, the Golden Future Cup having 7 total entries this year, and having one of the few entries to find a greater level of success, with Nurarihon no Mago, or Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, which would go on to enjoy a cozy 218 chapter run, beginning in 2018. Nura isn't a manga I've read yet, but I've always looked forward to reading one day, as it's one of those manga that saw success in Jump, but you don't hear many people talking about it. 2 other entrants would see their manga become series this year, one being Kosuke Hamada with Clutch, later becoming the basketball series Dogashi Kadan, only lasting 13 chapters. We would also see a familiar face to the channel in Sho Aimoto's Muddy, the 12 chapter series about a scientist who creates a homunculus boy, a series I like a lot and mentioned in my very first video on the channel. 2008's Gold Future Cup was another success, only having 4 entries, but the winner being Beelzebub by Ryuhei Tamura, which would go on to have an impressive 250 chapter run, still being widely recognized today and probably the biggest hit to ever come out of any Gold Future Cup. 2009 would be the year the curse of the Gold Future Cup would fully begin to take effect. It'll become evident why as we go on throughout the next decade of competitions. The winner this year out of 5 entrants being Metallica Metalluca by Teruki Mizuno, going on to become a series with the same name, but only lasting 17 chapters, it being a very run-of-the-mill battle shonen with a focus on metals and minerals. 2010's GFC would have 5 entries, the winning one-shot being Kikai Tonshi Banashi Hanasaka Ikkyuu, going on to become a series lasting only 15 chapters and being one of the weaker and most confusing Shonen Jump manga I've ever read. In 2011's GFC, we would see a familiar name pop up, that being Yuki Tabata with his one-shot Hungry Joker, beating out 5 other entries. I'm aware Hungry Joker has quite a few fans, but it sadly only lasted 24 chapters and furthered the GFC curse of all the new winning authors having their series quickly axed. It wouldn't be all doom and gloom for Tabata though, as he'd later go on to create Black Clover, which is still in the magazine to this day. This year doesn't end here though, as Juzo Kawai would also get to serialize his one-shot, that being Takama Gahara, it only lasting 17 chapters before kicking the bucket, but I wanted to mention it as it's a manga you can read relatively easily, as it's officially translated on the Shonen Jump app. Check it out if you want a weird axed battle shonen. 2012 would see 4 entrants, with the winner being After School Idol by Kazuro Kyo, later becoming the series Hime Doll, only lasting 16 chapters. It was a rather messy series about a hairdresser in training teaming up with a delinquent idol girl. 2 other manga from this Gold Future Cup would also get serialized, one being Koi no Cupid Yakenohara Jin by Tomohiro Hasegawa, and the other being Goblin Knight, later serialized as Iron Knight, both only lasting 20 chapters. Skipping 2013, we would have another batch of 4 entries, the winner being Devilly Man by Kentaro Fukuda, serializing with the same name but lasting only 16 chapters. From the 1 chapter translated of this manga, I actually found myself enjoying it quite a bit. It follows a demon salaryman who needs to gather a lot of money, but regular people keep taking advantage of him due to his pure heart. So he ends up teaming up with a young boy who is far more sinister than himself, and he's an actual demon, so you know this boy is all kinds of messed up. This Gold Future Cup would also see Koyoharu Gotoge enter with their one-shot Rokotsu-san, and while they wouldn't win, in a few years they would begin serializing Demon Slayer within the magazine. 2015 would almost double the entries from previous years, bumping it up to 7 total one-shots, this time the winner being Genjui Toteku by Hitsuji Gondaira, a name you'll be familiar with from Mission Yozakura Family. This one-shot is a lot of fun, following a character who turns into a werewolf and gets help from a mythical beast doctor called Toteku. I think this would have been a really fun series to be honest, and I can see why people voted for it. Genjui Toteku wouldn't get serialized though. Instead, Gondaira would opt to wait until 2017, where they would publish Demon Prince Poro's Diaries, a cute manga about a demon prince who visits and attends a human school. This would unfortunately only last 17 chapters however, falling to the Gold Future Cup curse. And since it's relevant, Takamasa Moe entered a one-shot into this year's Gold Future Cup with Galaxy Gangs. It didn't win or become a series, but Moe would become the artist for Akane Banashi, which I just wanted to mention as Akane is one of the best Jump manga right now, and it's cool to see where one of the authors came from. 2016 saw 5 entries battled out to see if they could break the curse, with the win going to Keiji Amatsuka with their one-shot Tokubetsu Kokakomin Kaizusha Taizukaka Tanaka Seiji. Which would get a series lasting just 20 chapters before getting axed, and rightfully so, because I never want to say its full name again. It's also not a very good manga, and somehow beat Gege Akutami's one-shot Nikai Bongai Badabaru Jura. Another mouthful to say, and it looks like it shares some DNA with Jujutsu Kaisen. We're actually going to skip 2017 for now, since I want to save that year for last, so instead let's tackle 2018 and its winner out of 5 entrants, Honomeru Shonen by Yugo Goto and Kento Matsura. This would go on to be serialized as Phantom Seer, a manga beloved in the West and heavily mourned when it got axed after 32 chapters. It seemed like it would be the first manga after 10 years to finally break the Gold Future Cup curse, but it fell short, a lot of people upset in its cancellation. Fusai Naba would also participate in this year with their one-shot Apollo, featuring a character looking very similar to Shiraku from Aliens Area, Fusai's 2022 Jump series. The Gold Future Cup would skip the year 2019, and 2020 would see Red Hood by Yuki Kawaguchi win out of 5 entrants, it getting serialized in 2021 but ending after only 18 chapters, another Western favoured manga to be axed due to the Gold Future Cup curse. 2021 would be the last year so far to have a winner get serialized, that being Enoshima Daisuke with Jinzo Ningen 100, beating out 4 other entries, it beginning as a proper series last December in 2022 as Fabricant 100. It's currently being serialized in the magazine, but its chances of survival don't look good, although it has survived longer than most Gold Future Cup series, being 32 chapters long at the time of writing. Now that we're caught up, we're going to look back at 2017, which had 5 total entrants, the winner being Jureishi Rentaro no Yakusoku by Masaoki Shindo, the one-shot following a boy who fights off ice demons with fire powers. It's a tad generic, but well made overall, and I think it might have been the right choice not to serialize this right away. Shindo would wait until 2022 to serialize his Gold Future Cup winning manga. Perhaps he thought he could avoid the curse by waiting so long. The manga he would choose for serialization would be Ruri Dragon, and seemingly after an entire decade of Gold Future Cup winners flopping with their new series, the curse came to an end. Ruri Dragon becoming an instant hit, getting tons of praise and becoming extremely popular. And then it all stopped. Masaoki Shindo sadly fell ill, and Ruri Dragon would end up going on indefinite hiatus, which it's still on to this day. This video and the idea of the Gold Future Cup curse is meant to be something fairly light and fun, a series of coincidences that Jump fans have noticed, and a pattern that we've recognized and given a name. What happened with Shindo though, and Ruri Dragon, is a part of that, but it's also really sad for everyone involved. Shindo, Shonen Jump, and all of us as readers. We had something really special here, something that was going to be really big, and it only got 6 chapters before disappearing, and we were robbed of a continuation. I only hope that Shindo can recover and can continue Ruri someday without risk of their health. It's tragic and only serves to bolster this idea of the Gold Future Cup being cursed to me. It's not something you can just outrun. You can't outrun a curse. It needs to be broken. But if a manga ever does break it, whether that's Ruri or some future manga, it'll be something really special, as it'll avenge a decade of Axe manga, including Phantom Seer and Red Hood, which are favourites, at least in the West, as well as avenging what happened to Ruri, in a kind of meta sense anyway. It's something I'd love to see happen one day, and perhaps within the next year it will, as we already know the winner of last year's Gold Future Cup, which happened in 2022. The winner of that being Koi no Yobi no Sezaki-san by Shirakuma Shirasaki. The one-shot is unfortunately not translated, but from what I can tell it follows Hoshimaki, a boy who sits next to a girl named Sasaki, who changes personality each day of the week and might have a crush on him, Hoshimaki not being able to fall in love and reciprocate Sasaki's feelings. The story itself looking to be a bizarre comedy romance. I really like the idea of this concept, and from what I can tell others do too, and recognize that it would probably work well as a serialized manga. I'm hoping that since the last few winners have mostly been battle shonen stories, this can get serialized and will survive in the magazine, not only to potentially break the curse, but because this sounds like a fun potential series. And there we have it. That's the Gold Future Cup and its curse covered so far. I hope you learned something and had fun with this video. It was fun looking into Jump's history like this, since I've mostly covered series from the 70s so far on my channel. If you take anything from this video, let it be hope. That eventually the strongest of curses can be broken. Maybe Ruri will come back, maybe Sasaki will be our new curse-breaking heroine, or the winner of this year's Gold Future Cup. In the meantime, you can check out my other videos going over Shonen Jump's history. Please subscribe for more content like this, and leave a comment if you have anything to say about the many manga I've touched on in this video. As always, thank you for watching and take care.